The first thing I was told about it was that, you know, it was George Clooney, and that I've wanted to work with George for a long, long time. So it was, you know, that happens every now and again. You get a script through where it's someone you really want to work with that's attached to it, and so that was very exciting. I just thought it was really funny, and it was a very, very funny script, and I didn't really think that it was true. And then I found out that so much of it was true, you know, in retrospect. I went, oh my God. It's a very exciting group, George and Kevin Spacey and Jeff Bridges. It's an amazing cast, and everyone's so very, very different, you know, as all actors are. And Jeff's incredibly meticulous and into detail, and then you really get to play with him when the camera's turning. There's real sense of play, and it's great fun. It's really great fun. But the goats were great. I like working with them. You know, they're quite characterful goats, and I quite like to look at them. They've got quite pleasing faces, and I think there are baby goats that we carry at the end of the film. I'm hoping to have a little baby goat to carry around at the end.
Well, I really like doing movies that I would like to see myself, and I like movies that are surprising, ones that I haven't seen before, something that the filmmaker, you know, some idea that he has that is totally fresh, and this one certainly fits that bill. And I like to work with people that I admire, and this one is just chock filled with friends and artists who are just you know, the top guys. You know, you got your George, you and Kevin, and it was you know, it was a treat. The New Earth Army is based on a secret unit. This is the truth that the United States Army formed maybe 20 or 30 years ago. And it was made up of soldiers who they deemed to be psychically gifted. And their mission was to use their psychic powers to end warfare as we know it. My character, Bill Django, is based on several characters that are in John Ronson's book. It's sort of a compilation of these guys. But I got a lot of inspiration and a lot of valuable information from Jim Channon, who is a pioneer in this field, and he, you know, gave us all of his creative ideas and gave a lot of creative input for our film. And Larry Hooper is played by Kevin Spacey, a good friend of mine, and it's always great to be able to play with your buddies, you know, and he's wonderful in the part.
He's not a nice guy, the character that I play. He's jealous, petty, mean-spirited, a character who does everything he can to destroy who he sees as his enemy, who in this case is George Clooney's character. I think he's an amalgamation of a couple of characters. I don't think there wasn't actually a guy quite like this, but for dramatic purposes they've sort of created him. It's one of those movies where it's less about following a specific character, and it's more about the sum of its parts, because everything that gets layered, everything that you're learning about what this group is doing and who they were and how much they were pushing the boundaries, I think all of it adds up, and I was quite, I don't know, I was quite surprised when I saw the movie to feel that the film is, in some odd way, quite touching by the end of it. There's something about the spirit of it, and in fact, as crazy as it is, what these people were doing, there's a part of you that really wants to believe it's possible. There's a part of you that wants to think that, yeah, this would be great to have an army like this. It's hard to understand why my character seems to be in such defiant hate of George's character, there's no rhyme or reason for it. It just is, and he is constantly trying to screw him up, get him in trouble, steal ideas from him, and yet in this odd way behaves like they're friends. I suppose we've all come across people like that in our lives. And it works fairly well for George and I, because George is a big practical joker, and I also like to do practical jokes. So there's a little bit of that going on all during shooting as well. And I'm not going to tell you who's winning. I've known all these guys a long time, and this is what movie making should be. You know, it should be groups of people getting together who are up for the same thing and up for the same reasons, and get along, and you know, the egos are left at the door, and you get on with it and have a good time, and that's exactly what happened here. Maybe it's the first comedy to come out of this whole situation that is still respectful to the ideals of what being a good soldier are, at least in this particular group. What they're trying to do is to change the way in which we think about conflict. And so in a weird way, I guess that's what I mean by the film being somewhat touching by the end of it. I kind of wish it was sort of that way.
I actually read the script before I read the book, and I was fascinated with the subject, with the idea of psychic warfare, and also I liked the idea of it being a comedy, and the tone, and I sort of fell in love with the writing. Peter Strawn just wrote this script that was funny, but actually was talking about something that was sort of fairly important. The New Earth Army was there was a gentleman in the 70s who basically went out and spent years sort of studying with all these different gurus and sort of New Age movements, and he came back and he wrote sort of a manifesto, so to speak, that talked about a way to sort of fight wars in a peaceful manner. George plays Lynn Cassidy, and he brings a sort of like a real sort of grounded gravitas, salt of the earth quality to that character, and he's really funny. I mean, George is a really funny guy, even when he's not on camera. But when on camera and in this role, I just think he knocks it out of the park.
So the challenge was really to try and take all of those beads and find a thread that you could put it on that would pull it into a kind of straight narrative line. And I think I literally went through the book with a marker and underlined everything that I thought I wouldn't want that not to be in the film, and then tried to work out a storyline that could fit as much of it in as possible.
When he finished the script, he sent it to me, and I just thought it was, fabulous. I was so happy with it. When I was writing the book, I thought if somebody really clever comes along, who knows how to make movies, they could probably turn this into a movie in a way that I won't know how to do, but they might. And Peter came along and did that, and I think the book unlocked something in Peter. And he just wrote the most brilliant script. Certain things that happen to Ewan or to Bob that happened exactly to me. I mean, that Predator scene, is word for word, and finger twist to finger twist what happened to me. And in fact, there's a lot of times in the movie where Bob and somebody, usually George, have a conversation that's identical word for word to a conversation I had 6 or 7 years ago.